In this worksheet called Weekday, we want to know the day of the week for the sales. Imagine this organization sells heavy equipment. They don't have sales every day. They're trying to see if there's some kind of pattern about which days of the week sales occurred on. Excel has a function called Weekday. We want to know the weekday of this cell in A2. The answer is a little disappointing. 2 actually means Monday. 1 means Sunday. 3 means Tuesday, and so on. And we can certainly get used to using the numbers, possibly. And here's how they play out on the rest of the worksheet. This is on Friday. There's a Thursday, and so on. You can get used to using this. But it certainly would be better if we could format these, and we can, to display the actual day of the week, either as an abbreviation or as a full spelling. By either right-clicking, pressing Format Cells, or pressing Control-1, we will go to the Format Cells dialog box. And the not-so-obvious choice here is Custom. And what we want to put into the panel right here is either 3 Ds, if we'd like to see an abbreviation like MON and TUE and so on, or 4 letters to spell this out. Click OK. And I think most people would prefer this idea. It's a lot more readable. Now remember, the function is still there. It's still doing its work like before. But instead of showing numbers, we're seeing actual text, which makes sense here. So this helps us a bit in understanding what's going on. And imagine how this can be applied to other kinds of data that you work with. Sometimes you'll see some real surprises here about what's going on. Does it have to do with sales? Does it have to do with orders? Any particular day of the week that's kind of jumping out of here in an unusual way? And once you are familiar with the weekday function, you can apply it to other Excel features as well. In column F are some sale dates. And let's imagine that manually shipping dates are entered here, but we want to be sure that no shipping date is assigned here that's a Saturday or a Sunday, because you don't do shipping perhaps on those days. So what we'd like to be able to set up here, and we can, is a data validation rule that uses the weekday function. So I'm going to click column G here, and on the Data tab in the ribbon, use Data Validation. And the word allow here, every time I see it, I want it to say require, because what we're about to do here is to require that the setting in column G adheres to a custom formula that we're about to write. And this formula is certainly not obvious, but once you see it, it will make perfect sense. And of course, what we're aiming for here is to prevent Saturday and Sunday entries. And we will start by just actually using the weekday function. Now, you don't have to really capitalize it. It will become capitalized eventually anyway. But the core of this is the following idea. The weekday of what? Strangely enough, G1. Now, G1 is currently the active cell, but we have highlighted the entire column. By inference, G1 will refer to every cell in the column. That's all we need to type. So if the weekday of G1, we want to make sure that this is not equal to, and that's the less than followed by the greater than arrow. We want to make sure that this is not equal to 7, that's Saturday, comma, and so we need to precede all this with equal and 2 criteria here. The first one is the weekday of G7 not equal to 7. Now I'm just going to highlight this here because I'm a slow typist. I'm going to press Control-C, click over here, Control-V. We also want to make sure that the weekday here is not equal to 1. That's Sunday. And of course, you can do these in any order you want, and then a right parenthesis. So even though that's not, as I suggested, not the most obvious formula, it's exactly what we want to do here. Now, one more slight glitch here. As we click OK, we're going to get a message that threatens us a little bit. The formula currently evaluates to an error. Now, that simply means that literally cell G1 doesn't fit this. Doesn't make any sense here, but we're ignoring that. It's got text in it. We just click yes and move on. All right, so here's the shipping date. I'm going to put in a date, 1/23/10. Is that okay? Yes. Whoops, no, it's not. Now, we don't necessarily know based on this message what went wrong. If you're the one that created it, you might, but you might want to consider rewriting the message here. So if for whatever reason that's wrong, let's try another date. Let's retry. Let's try the 22nd. Looks like that's okay. Now, if we were curious, of course, we could figure this out kind of quickly. That's a Friday. It looks like that previous date was a Saturday. So you saw how it works. If you'd like to control what the message actually says, and we do this for the whole column, revisit data validation. And if you want the message to be meaningful, you can jump right into error alert here, and that's okay. We see this prompt again. We'll provide the message and something along the lines, I'm being a little cryptic here, date entered is Saturday or Sunday. Is Saturday or Sunday, re-enter. Now, some people, of course, get a little gleam in their eye when they realize this is going to pop up on the screen in the dialog box. Time to get clever or cute or whatever. But this is a direct message. We'll click OK. And again, we see this, but we'll try this again. This time we will put in the 23rd just to see that message. There it is. So you do have control over that as well. But the key idea is using this weekday function in this data validation rule to make sure that we're not putting in dates that are on a certain day of the week. And we saw how valuable that function was used also in column B here. So it's a function to keep an eye on. And anytime you're analyzing data, whether it relates to orders or sales or even in a non-business environment, knowing day of the week is a valuable tool.